you know that I'm really fond of cameras and photography. I mean, teachers, I'm sure you've seen me at numerous parent-teacher type events or school events. And students, maybe you've seen my work online or you've seen me with the camera too hanging around my neck. And today I'm here to kind of talk about my experience as well as kind of my growth through my photography, mainly through my high school years. Because there's a lot to talk about with my photography, but you know, it's hard to fit it all in a short amount of time. Your question might be, why am I here to talk about this to you guys? I think one of the main reasons why I'm here talking to you guys, like this group of people in particular, is because I'm sure your teachers and parents throw around words like passion or like inspiration and things like that. And it may be hard to grasp, like what is inspiration, what is passion, you know, what do you mean by pursue your passion? What do you know, like how am I supposed to pursue my passion if I don't know what my passion is? So I'm kind of here to talk a bit about my photography. I can't say that it's for sure a passion of mine. It's something that I really, really love doing. And yeah, so maybe I'll pick up a thing or two. If not, I mean, it's Friday morning, so okay. So I want to kind of start off with my experience at the National Geographic Student Expeditions program for photography. It was a 12-day program in London, and I took it the year after my freshman year, which is your first year of high school. And this was where, this was a really big turning point in my photography career because they taught us a lot of the things about, you know, like how to work the different functions on your camera or, you know, the techniques or things like talking to different people and going out of my comfort zone. And we experimented with things like this, which was night photography. This is something where you extend things like the shutter speed, or you use lights or flashes like this, and this image hasn't been edited, but you can do cool things like this. And it was something that I'd never done here back home. So it was really cool to go outside of what I normally knew. And they also took us out into the middle of nowhere to take photos like this of strangers. I don't know this woman, we never talked. But you do things like this, and I got to experiment a lot with my photography. And they also took us out into the city where we took shots like this, which is a part of observational photography, which I'll go into a little more later. But it's where your subject really doesn't know that they're getting their picture taken, and they probably never will. So those are images like this out in the city of London. We also had tasks during this 12-day course, which involved having to go up to people and actually talking to them, asking to take their photographs. So those are photos like this. And this particular man, what's special about this photo, so he's not just a man. I walked into a cafe, me and a group of friends, and I walked into a cafe, and we were like, so what's up, you know, like, can we take your photograph? He's like, sure, in a really celebratory mood. And so, you know, what's up? And he goes, I just got married. And we go, oh, that's so cool. And he goes, I just got married to this man. You know, like, I mean, it's not much to laugh about, you know, like, it's really cool. And for us to walk into this cafe on this particular day, you know, just a group of people with a camera, and be able to bump into this guy in this moment, and be a part of his life, and to be able to capture this moment is something that was really special to me, and something that I really value about photography, is that you get to really interact with your subject and be a part of their lives. Yeah. And you also meet women like this, and she was selling jewelry on the beach. And I asked her for her photograph, and she goes, if you buy one of my pieces, I'll let you take my photograph. So I bought one of her pieces, and here's the photograph. You also bump into quirky people like this guy who likes to have beer and bread together on the beach, and which is an odd combination, not that I would know. And so he was sitting there, and I mean, you know, like, it's really interesting because these are people that I wouldn't have talked to without my camera. So through my camera, I got to communicate with them. I'd be like, oh, like I'm taking photos for, as a part of this program. So yeah, you get the opportunity to meet people like this. And then you also meet people like this who, so this was one day I was in this part of East London. It was called Shoreditch. And it's a very quirky mix of vintage and modern everything. And we were given the task to walk into a random store and ask them if we could take photos of their products and the workers there. And this guy, he was the manager of the store, and coincidentally he told me that he was very fond of Japan and that he would be coming to Tokyo the year after, which would be my 10th grade year, so that's 2 years ago. So yeah, he was in Tokyo working for a year. I didn't see him then, but something really cool happened, which was this January. We kept in touch over Facebook, and he messages me and he goes, I'm going to be in Tokyo in April. Can you come up to Tokyo to take photos of my cheese and wine party? Right, and so I go, yeah, like, of course, like, that's really cool. So I go to Tokyo in April, and he did a little cheese demonstration for us where he just brought like a whole pile of cheese, and he was, chopping them up and making his little cheese dishes, and there were about 20 or 30 people there. He made things like this. And what's really interesting about this to me is that I wasn't very fond of cheese. I mean, not to say that I am now, I'm really not. But I'm not a really big cheese eater. And, but it's really cool. I mean, if I hadn't met this guy, I never would have known this much about cheese or seen this much cheese in my life or eaten this much cheese in my life. Probably had more cheese than I ever would want in my life. So it's really cool. I mean, liking something is one thing, and also experiencing lots of things is another thing. And you don't necessarily have to like things to be able to appreciate the experience. And this was me appreciating the experience and not particularly liking cheese. I mean, that was fine too. So that was really cool. It opened up opportunities. And there were about 20 to 30 people at the party. And they were all people who were friends of this guy. His name was Christoph. So they were all friends of this guy, and there were really interesting people, like this woman who was a professional nihonbuyo no dancer, so Japanese, traditional dancing. So she showed us a little bit of her dances, and there were other people with creative careers, like this woman who was a gardener. So she, she cuts bushes and designs them, I'm assuming. Yeah, and so, not only did this give me, it opened up an opportunity for me and opened up lots of new doors. It's something that I never would have done. And for this kind of photography, to me, event photography, it's not about, how to make the shot artsier, I feel like that's something, taking a nice shot at one of these parties is something that you can do with a little bit of skill and the right camera settings. But what's more important to me is the connection that I have between me and the subject, or through me carrying a camera, we get to make conversation, and I get to find out new things and meet new people, and meeting new people is my way of seeing the world, because, everyone's different, so it's really cool to get to interact with new people, and I've only been able to do that through my camera. And what I've recently been into is something called observational photography that I mentioned earlier. Again, this is my way of kind of getting in touch with the culture and getting to sort of meet people. And with observational photography, it's something where, your shots aren't set up, so you're not having people like modeled, and you're not directing people do this, do that. And so what you take photos of really reflects what you like, or where your interests lie. So a lot of my shots revolve around trains, and what's fascinating about trains to me is that there's so many people who use trains, like the poor, the rich, women, men, salarymen, students, everyone, you guys use trains too. So what's really cool is that all these people come together in one spot, and it's a public space, but everything is also very private in its own way. And you also figure out a lot of things about you know, like what's going on in the culture, you know, like what people like to do, like are people on phones, are people reading, are people sleeping? You know, like it says a lot about the people there. These last few shots, I went up to Tokyo in October of last year to take them. Yeah, so that's a lot with my trains. And I also like to take photos as I travel. And this was in Hong Kong, also in October last year. And it was right after the student protests in like September or something. And it was a really odd time to go because the protests had kind of died down. They were still active in some areas. I didn't end up going there, but they had died down, but most of the stuff was there. The material was there. So it was interesting to be able to walk through these places and get to see history in action, as people would put it. So, like I was saying, with the guy who got married, it was really special for me. You know, like it was, yeah, special for me to be able to be in the place, in the moment, coincidentally, because you know, this trip wasn't, yeah, it wasn't planned for this purpose. Like we'd gone there for travel and things like that. But for us to end up there in the moment was really cool. And, you know, it's something that I thought I should document. So this is a part of the observational photography. And lastly, my most recent one has been in Kyoto. There was an international photography festival called Kyotography that was in Kyoto recently, and I was with a group of professional Instagrammers. They all had something 1,000 followers on Instagram. So yeah, that was the group I was with, and we were just kind of roaming the streets of Kyoto. And you come out with shots like this. And this was taken on my iPhone. All of these Kyoto shots were taken on my iPhone. So the other idea here is if you are interested in photography, you don't need to have a fancy camera. You just need to have a camera of some sort. And he also shots like this. Alright, so hopefully maybe, you know, through this you've kind of seen a little bit of me, and you've maybe picked up a thing or two, or, you know, something that's stuck in your mind, or it will stick in your mind. I remember when I was in KB, there were middle schoolers who came in and did a little science experiment. It was nothing special, but it's something that really stuck in my head. So maybe this will be one of those things for you, and if not, I mean, you know, thanks for your time. Yeah, I hope it's been a little something, a little interesting something, and have a good rest of your Friday. Thank you.